Hello and welcome to this video tutorial from Vladimir Chopine Geekatplay Studio. And in this tutorials we're going to take this cosplay portraits and we're going to retouch step by step. This is also can apply to any beauty retouch or other things. So we'll just look on how to retouch eyes, skin, hair, face, add a shadow highlights, how to remove small blemishes or blend in some, for example, contact lenses, enhance some coloring. And this was before, this is what we'll have it after. You'll notice we'll set a little bit more focus on the face with lighting and other things. And just have it a little bit stylizations and presenting image we want to do it. So let's go ahead, jump into the tutorials and start working on this. We're going to work on the portrait by opening image inside the camera raw after make our selections in Adobe Bridge. Doing this by double tap click, and then here we have it camera raw open. Now we're going to select on the lens correction first, and I'm going to enable remove chromatic abbreviations and enable profile correction for this image. Next, I want to restore a little bit of the sharpness that lost by processing, adding anti-aliasing inside of my camera. Not every camera will do this, but Canon 5D Mark III does. So I'm going to bring about 70 somewhere around, which is safe area. The reason is how I'm looking. If you look on the skin and we bring sharpness all the way, you can see now we introduce digital noise. So if we're going a little bit about 60, 70, how say around this area, we still restoring some of the sharpness was lost, but at the same time we don't introduce digital noise. Next, we're going into the basic settings, and I want to take highlights and bring them down. Notice how it's changed on the skins. It will bring some details, but will last of the highlights to make the image a little bit flatter. To restore this, we're going inside the HCL adjustment, luminosity, and we'll take a little bit, bring orange up and yellows. Okay, let's go zoom out. And we can preview right here. You can see how we bring them here. Just a little bit yellows under eyes, and also we can see red a little bit. Let's bring just a bit up, so we restore some of those highlights. I don't want to do too much because we have paint on a face that is representing kind of nicely. I want to preserve this. Let's go back in basic, and one actual things I want to take shadows and bring just slightly up. You can be careful with the shadows because if we're going in image, and you can see right here, shadows will introduce quite a bit of this digital noise as well. We'll just give it back. Okay, the problem with this Adobe Photoshop, very good in almost all software. Take from white, take to black to make it darker. However, if we're going from dark to white, we don't have some of those details in our image, so it will be replaced by those dots. Okay, right here we have an image preset. I don't want to modify too much, but I think the basic settings is done. And before I'm going, I want to verify that I'm working with 16-bit color. Let's click OK and open image. Now our image inside the Photoshop. And first things, I want to touch up a little bit on the skin. Not that much here, just a little bit. So we'll go ahead and create new layer. Well, let's go call it touch up. We'll take our brush, and I want actually using healing brush tool because I can specify area where I want Photoshop pick up for my texture. So for example, okay, let's reduce brush. Right here I can select this area, and after going over and fix replace, leave it better with the texture from area where I want it. Because I don't want necessarily to do much. We'll leave it a little bit of those greenness and depend on your preferred style, because some people like very plastifications on a skin. They like to look, it's very plasticky, and sometimes it's work, it's good. For me, I prefer to have a little bit natural grain. I like the imperfection in the skin. It's what look nice. However, I do remove some of those bigger details that maybe kind of draw attraction, take off from the eye from where we place. Okay, so let's go right here, just a few things. However, we will apply some of this smoothness but we will preserve also the texturing. Okay, overall, the model have very nice skin, so we'll leave it right there. Let's look over areas. We have copper, kind of off. Probably change this replace, but I think overall look okay. If you don't like some of the strings, we also can replace them. Go this way. Be sure that if you see any repetition somewhere, we want to actually skip that repetition off. Okay, let's adjust here. There you go. Just take one string off. I think the rest is kind of look okay. And we'll leave it this here. Okay, let's look closer on the eyes. We still have the veins. Usually I will remove the veins, but again, because it's kind of post-apocalyptic, I want to increase stress in the eyes, so we'll leave those veins there. And overall, I think it's look good. Okay, actually, one thing would help to me do framing right now. This option usually I do on the end, but I want to be sure I set actually correct here, and I just want to bring this point to the eye. Just maybe around right there. Just a little bit correction, but I think we have a very nice adjustment on that one already. Okay, so that is set. Let's go next. I want to add a little bit dodge and burn to our image, so we'll go create new layer. Let's go call dodge and burn. We're going to fill this layer with 50% gray, normal mode, 100% opacity, and we're going to switch this to the soft light. Because soft light, it's part of the contrast group, which is making 50% gray kind of invisible in this case, but changing it to black and white will make highlights or shadows. So I'm going to use with opacity 5% set, very soft, and I'm using black color, and my brush is soft round. The one thing you notice that reason I'm using 5% because I'm using mouse, not Wacom pad for this tutorial, and I want to make very soft strokes. So with 5% I can have multiple strokes, but I will have it very soft to add to our image. So I'm trying to avoid all this hard edge kind of effect. Again, if you find it's a little bit slower, you can change always to 10%, and 10% allowed to do a little bit faster, but be a little bit careful with this because strokes will be harder, so you need to do a little bit less of them. Okay, let's add some dimensions shadows here, also a little bit on our lips. Down right there. And I'm using bracket key on a keyboard to increase or decrease my brush size. So this has allowed me to get ear a bit darker. Okay. Okay. Also, we use the X key to switch between highlights and shadows. So this way I can now going in a highlight mode and use highlight mode just to touch up slightly. Again, if you need it, press X and jump between those two. Okay, let's zoom out. Okay, and right here we can preview a little bit on the face before and after. You can see we add depth to our image. Again, let's switch a little bit more to and I just want to add a little bit more depth. Shadowing here, and we'll add a little bit shadow to image. Overall, the idea of this, we have it focus on our face, one brighter, wider color, and going to a little bit shadowing fallout create from the lights on our image, so it does not take as much attention from our subject face. Also, let's add depth to this as well. I just add a few highlights to a specific image. By the way, one thing I noticed on Photoshop updates, the latest ones, I'm on RTX card, so it's a new NVIDIA card, and Photoshop sometimes does not update fast and good enough, so it's having some blockiness. I don't know if it's related to Photoshop, probably something. Okay, if you notice that effect, it just has it's reflected between a new Photoshop and RTX card from NVIDIA. Let's next work on bring hair highlights on the eyes, and also would add, before this I probably want to add Grinch, and Grinch will do its best Control Shift Alt E or Command Option Shift E on a Mac, and we'll combine merge all layers in creating brand new. And I'll call this Global Dodge and Burns because we're going to process this with a filter. So we go to Image Adjustment, switch to Black and White, and Black and White I want to bring a little bit red up and yellow, so we'll bring more skin tone and hair out. Let's go ahead, click OK. I'm going to switch this later in soft light. So soft light, again, it will be 50% gray, will be invisible, and darker get darker, and white get more highlights. But I don't want this extreme, so I'm going to Image Adjustments and use it Shadow and Highlights. And by using shadow and highlights, I can flatten a little bit, so effect will apply, but a little bit more settle and look nicer. Again, radius, let's say to 11 pixels on each. And by using tone, I just bring this little bit down and highlight just slightly up. Let's click OK. Usually I will leave it like this, but because I want more Grinch, I will go to Filter, Sharpest, Unsharp Mask. And right here, I will add a little bit more sharpness, which add even more Grinchiness to this. Let's go ahead, click OK, and switch to the soft light. Okay, we'll go to closer, and let's look on the skin. You can see with paint, before and after, it's add quite a bit this metallic look, bring some stuff. Not necessarily I want 100%, but I will bring just a little bit, maybe about 30% to this. It does work very well, like for example textures on the materials. You can see how it's bring up all of this Grinchiness, kind of nice. Okay, this is one, we added one Grinchiness. Next, I actually want to smooth just a little bit in some details. For the same, Control Shift Alt E, Command Shift Option E on a Mac, will create new layer by combining them. Switch to the smoothness, filter, noise, and we'll go to dust and scratches. So in dust and scratches, let's get closer to the image, and maybe about 21%. Click OK. Okay, and next we'll add mask to this. Control I to inverse the mask. And we'll use the brush, white color, 10% same, to brush in some of those elements. And usually I want just smooth a little bit on the skin, mostly where we don't have paint, so it's kind of give it this nice painting portrait look. But I don't want too much, I don't want to lose some of this paint Grinchiness, so we just add a little bit. mostly on the open skin. Okay, right there. This actually smooth very nice if we have those noise in the shadows. This will smooth it out quite a bit, those elements from image. Because I just touch a little bit. Okay, right here, let's preview. Before and after, just a little bit, you can see right here, reduce some of those. They still be there, but a little bit smoother. Okay, next things, I'm not sure if I want to do this on a hair, but let's touch up here and see if it will work good. So same things, we're combining all layers, Control Shift Alt E. Hair will go to filter, stylize, oil painting. Let's look on the hair right there, and it's kind of going okay. Click OK. You can see how it's add smoothness to the hair. Filter, sharpens. I want to add unsharp mask again to our hair, maybe a little bit less. Okay, same adding mask, inverse our mask. And let's see, we'll go to paint in. This is again, I'm not sure if I like to paint the hair. It's cleaning hair and it's work nice when I do painting effect, but I'm not sure on this one how it will look. We'll just try and see, because in some case I like this messiness little bit of the hair. We'll just add a little bit. Should be work better on the feathers. And we'll go down to this line. It will clean up some of this hair. Okay, and we'll look around this area. Okay, mostly on the edges, we'll fix a little bit blending between skin and hair. Actually, this look a little bit better there. Okay, let's check. Look okay, right here maybe. Okay, zoom out, and before and after. Probably just leave it like this. Yeah, I do like cleanliness a little bit on this one. Okay, let's work on the eyes. We'll bring actually hair and eyes. I want to bring a little bit more this way. We'll go to create curve. Switch curve to the overlay for the hair, and we'll bring kind of up a little bit more. Set 2 points so we don't overlap them. Let's go Control I again, inverse, and we'll go to brush in some of those highlights on the hair. And I don't want to say all areas, just mostly where was highlights, so we're going to touch up those areas. This will add more dimensions to our here. Okay, preview before and after. Bring hair a little bit up. Okay, let's work now on the eyes. And we're going actually to, we still have lens right there, but it's okay. Usually we can just take, actually, you know what, let's do that. Okay, we have eyes touch up. Let's select our tool. Okay, get closer. And we have right here just a little bit of the lens, so we'll go touch up a little bit of this. touch up on this one. Okay, just kind of this edge removed so we don't have I think that is look better. We don't have this lens, contact lens. Okay, next we'll go to curves. I can trust if I spell properly. There you go. Before do that, let's add another coloring. So when we're going with a color balance on this. And usually I ignore everything. I'm just looking on the eyes right now. And I want to maybe bring a little bit more bluish eyes to this. Okay, I think that one looked good. Inverse, so we hide out. And to create blue eyes, we'll just go brush 10% and just a little bit paint in. Slightly more. Okay, let's zoom out. Okay, if they're too intensive, remember we can always modify. We just bring slightly this way. Okay, now we're ready for the contrast. We'll switch to the overlay mode on the eyes. Bring up. Fix our curve so it does not go crazy. Okay, right here, same Control I to inverse. Select our brush and paint a little bit on the contrast. So it will add, you can see, add back eyes kind of pictures. And I like those corneas, so it's look nice. Okay, let's zoom out. Here we have our eyes pop up. Let's group this. Eyes, and you can see it's just make them a little bit more glowing, maybe even too much. Okay, now as a global we can modify, so we can actually take them slightly down so they don't come up as vampire eyes. Just leave it around this area. Okay, so we touch all of these elements. Let's add overall global highlights focus on this, and we're going global TV, global dodge and burn kind of highlight on a face, and we're going to fill up this with 50% gray. Go select our brush, be sure it's a black color, set to 10%. Let's switch this to soft light. And I'm just going right around. Just make this right there, hide all these elements. Okay, let's switch to the white and add a little bit portraits, and maybe too much. Okay, let's go on this till we select layer. I want to go to blur, and blur, just add smoothness a little bit in transition there. Click OK. If you look, we have just move a little bit so it does not have it very sharp of those adjustments. Go soft light. Okay, I think this look about right. We're going now to create black and white image, and this will be a little bit enhanced. So I will actually take a little bit darker on a red, lighter on a have the contrast on the arm image, and I do like, okay, wider there. Bring your eyes. Okay. So we have almost 3 colors, blue, red. Okay, and next we'll leave it there alone. We'll just going and bring in tone down, because we could leave it very bright on our saturations. I think if we just bring a little bit down like this, just leave it toned down. Okay, let's add overall coloring to this, and I'm going this by using curves. So this will be our color. Switch this to the color blending mode. Select our blue channel. Bring our lower to the blue. Take on the middle tones. Bring around here. Let's go to red. We'll add cyan, but take shadows down cyan. And from this point, we'll go to restore our red line. I don't want overwhelm, but I just want a little bit restored curve. So you can see we add a bit nice colder, a little bit more playing cold to the shadows, and keeping similarity on the highlights. So it will give us this kind of nicer play on the coloring. Let's go next, create another curve. And this one will be luminosity. So let's switch blend mode to luminosity as well, and we'll take, and you can see we can add flatten to these or any other ones. I'll just bring little bits flatten up so don't have it. And we'll look if bring just slightly middle down. Yeah, just let's bring this below. Small adjustments on the contrast level on luminosity. Not that much for this image, just overall give it this smooth kind of effect. Okay, one more thing I want to create, it is, usually I don't do grain, but again, this is post-apocalyptic. Want to do grain for this, 50% gray we fill up. We'll go to the filter, noise, add noise. See if I can click properly. Okay, right here, add noise. Maybe about 20, click OK. Switch to the soft light. Let's look closer what's happening. And you can see right here we have our noise introduced. It's kind of give it this rustic look. It's too much, so I'll just bring maybe about 30% to this. Zoom out. And here we have it before and after. Actually, you know what? Let's disable this too. Except black and white. We'll create new image between them. I'll just add sharpness to this by going filter, other, high pass. Okay, let's look on a high pass. It just a little bit add, and maybe going about 1.7 points. Filter, sharpen, unsharp mask on the same thing. So around there, click OK. And this is contrast edge selection. It's what the Photoshop does. And that way we'll just bring, I just like this paint to look metallic-y. So, and you can see it as bring when we're closer to this. About 57, let's restore our elements back. So just add this kind of sharpness, gringiness. I think this is look good. We could add overlay with grungy mask, but I think the cleanness also and grunges work very well. And one thing, always remember, just go ahead, add your signature. So I'm a Chopine photography, and I don't want to put a watermark on the middle. Usually I hide on the bottom, and people who want to remove it, they will remove it. But I leave for the people who interested, find who did this work. And thank you very much for watching this. Please remember visit on www.geekatplay.com or subscribe on YouTube channel to see for new tutorials. Thank you.